All right. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, January 7th, 2021. Call this meeting to order. If I could get a roll call, Justin.
Yes, sir, Mr. Vice Chair. Miller. Jackamore.
Here.
Monfee.
Present.
Hatley.
Here.
Cawthorn. Here. Duffield.
Here.
Choate.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Black. Black.
Here.
Keller, non-voting. Justin Keller.
Is not on.
James Liaison is absent. We have a quorum, Mr. Vice Chair.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Next item is election of officers. We're electing a chair, vice chair, and secretary. So we have any, open the floor for nominations for chair.
Can you hear me, Don?
Yes.
This is Larry Smith. I nominate you for chair.
This is Cody. I would second the nomination.
I'll have to respectfully decline. I appreciate the vote and the nomination, but I'm just not sure if I've got the time to put into it. But I really do appreciate the support.
Can you hear me, Don?
Yes.
Well, I just thought you'd probably be the best since you've been acting as vice. So I respectfully withdraw my nomination.
Thank you. We have any other nominations?
Does Wendell not want to continue?
I think he did. When I talked to him, he
Yes.
showed interest in it.
Yes,
I thought his term was over.
Wendell is still on the planning commission, and he has expressed interest to me, this is the mayor, that he would like to continue as chairman if the planning commission so desires.
Well, Don, then I nominate Wendell Miller.
Okay, we have nomination on the floor to nominate Wendell Miller as vice chair. We have a second.
This is Cody. I will second that nomination.
Okay.
Excuse me, this is Sarah John Dahl. Was that a nomination for chair or vice?
Oh, chair.
A chair.
Yeah, that's chair. Okay, we have a motion and a second for Wendell Miller as chairman. Any discussion? If so, we'll move into a vote. Justin, if you give me a roll call, please.
Jackamore.
Yes.
Monfee.
Yes.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran, yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Passes, Mr. Vice Chair.
All right. Motion passes. We'll move on to vice chair. I'll open the floor up for nominations.
Don, are you okay with continuing as vice?
Yes, I am.
Then I would nominate Mr. Jackmore as vice.
I second that.
Okay. Got a motion to nominate Jack Moore as vice chair. Any other nominations? Okay, if not, then we'll move on to a vote. Justin, if you can give me a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Jackamore,
Yes.
Monfee,
Yes.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran, yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. All right. Thank you guys for the support. Now we'll move on to nominations for secretary. If I can nominate, I'll nominate Justin Cothran as secretary, if he's willing.
I can agree to that. Yes, sir.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for Justin Cothran. Still opening back up for other nominations. Okay, if there's not any more nominations, we'll go into a roll call. Justin?
Jackamore,
Yes.
Monfee,
Yes.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran, yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Looks like we have a chair, vice chair, and secretary for next year. Thank you for your votes on that. Now we'll move into item number 4, accepting the minutes for the Planning Commission meeting on December 28th, 2020. So if anybody's got any comments or suggestions, changes, deletions, or whatever, if not, I need a motion.
Chair, this is Luke. I'll move they be approved as presented.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve minutes as presented. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Ms. Hatley will second that motion. Justin, can you give me a roll call?
Jackmore,
Yes.
Monfy,
Yes.
Hatley,
yes,
Cothran, yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
yes,
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. All right, motion passes, accept the minutes. All right, move into new items. B, be rezoning property from R1 to C2 located at 5520 North Arkansas Avenue, submitted by Barrett and Associates on behalf of Johnny Brown. We have a staff report.
Yes, sir. Thank you. First, I would like to say welcome to our new commissioners, Monfy and Choate. Really appreciate you taking this opportunity to serve your community like this. And I just want to say thank you for that. So with that, I do have a staff report. This is to update the Russellville zoning map for property located along North Arkansas Avenue, Highway 7 North. It is just north of where Tri-County Water is located. And the proposal to rezone it from R1 to C2 aligns with the current adopted Reimagine Russellville 2040 comprehensive plan, showing that this is a commercial transitional zone from undeveloped county areas into, as you head into the city. So C2 is in alignment with what we would expect to see in that transitional zone, and is in alignment with the comprehensive plan. This area will be for the Bates distribution building that is going to be moving out of the downtown corridor as a result of the Pringle Creek project. And this is the property where they are proposing to move that distribution center. So it is in line. You do see similar commercial businesses. Like I said, you have Tri-County Water to the south. You have a commercial, several commercial businesses across the street. You do need to make careful consideration when looking at changing the zones. But since it is in alignment with the current Reimagine Russellville comprehensive plan, this is something that staff will recommend forwarding the request to rezone the property from R1 to C2, because it does align with the comprehensive plan and is in line with existing surrounding uses on North 7 there. And that is my staff report.
Thank you, Sarah. We have applicant on with Johnny here, or Barrett and Associates.
Yes, David Garza with Barrett and Associates.
Thank you, Dave.
Of course, as you know, they've got a big project going on through Russellville, the Prairie Creek project. And because of that, this building is going to be hampered, the property. So they're having to move to a new location. And they want to make sure that they can get that move done and not be a hindrance to the city's project. So they know that rezoning is going to be the first step, and it may take a little bit to do that. So they're trying to get that done now. And we are starting to work on design plans for the building and the facility.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioners, let's open the floor up for discussion. Anybody got any questions or comments? Commissioners, y'all got any questions, comments?
I do. The list of names on the proposal that was submitted of the people that live through there, does anyone talk to them to ask them about changes such as this and how they feel about it? Or I know that I wrote out there to see where it is, because changing or rezoning has been an issue near me before. So I wanted to make sure, and it is all commercial all around there. So I can see why it would be a project that could be approved. But I just wondered how any of the families or anything that lived out there, if they had a problem, would they present to this committee?
Yeah, what we're required to do is we have to notify all the landowners within 200 feet of the boundary of the project. So I think there was about 11 landowners that we sent notices to. And in that letter, we also send the notice of this meeting and then explaining what's going to be done there, as well as we post the sign of the meeting.
Yes.
Sarah, have you had anyone call or anything, check in on it?
No, sir, we have not had any comments, questions, or concerns raised to staff.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Mhm.
All right. If there's not any more questions or comments, I'll need a motion on the floor.
This is John. I'd make a motion, we approve the zone.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the rezoning. Do I have a second?
This is Luke, I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. Justin, if you give me a roll call, please.
Jackamore,
Yes.
Monfee,
Yes.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran, yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Abstain.
Black.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Looking forward to a new project. All right, we'll move on to C, a special use permit to allow operation of an automotive oil change service center in a C2 located at 2207 East Main Street, submitted by Caesar Segovia, I guess, on behalf of Driven Brands. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
That this application is being brought to the commission as a result that, according to the table of permitted uses, auto service stations are considered permitted by special use. So we are bringing this to the commission. There is currently a car wash on this property. They are just expanding the operations to include a small oil change facility, similar to other oil change facilities that we have along the East Main commercial corridor there. And you would see similar uses. Everything that they are proposing to do with this building is in line and substantially duplicates the existing car wash facility, which then therefore this proposed project does meet the commercial building design. It meets all of the setback requirements. It has shown how traffic flow will be able to be maintained on the property and not hinder traffic on Main Street. So staff does recommend forwarding this application to City Council for approval. As a result of the findings that the building and use is compatible with the existing structures at this location and with other uses and structures in the surrounding area. Current traffic routes are constructed in such a way to handle the traffic from this business, and public facilities already serve this location. And that is my staff report.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we have the applicant online here?
Yes, this is Caesar.
Caesar, okay, welcome. You have anything to add?
No, the staff report is pretty accurate, pretty much narrows it down to a T.
Okay, thank you. We'll open the floor for discussion. Commissioners as well. I do have one question on it. Where is this building going to be located as for in relationship to the existing building that's there? Is it going to be in the back part?
No, it will be pretty much right next to it. Where the entrance is now, we're going to be a little bit more to the east side. It's a small building. The building is only 1,400, a little bit over 1,400 square feet. And there's no, it's just a drive-through. You kind of just stay in your car,
Okay.
as you get your oil change. So kind of like what it was discussed, the traffic impact should be minimal and should be pretty. The goal is to get everybody in and out, pretty, like the name says, just in 5 minutes.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? If not, we'll move in to a motion and a second.
I make a motion that we approve the special use permit.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the special use permit. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Don.
Okay. Who's that?
Larry.
Larry, okay. Sorry about that. Didn't recognize the voice. All right, we have a motion and a second for a special use permit, allowed operation of an automotive oil change center. Justin, if you give me a roll call, please.
Jackmore,
Yes.
Monfee,
Yes.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran, yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Vice Chair.
All right, motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to D, large scale development at 2700 East Main Street at Firestone, Bridgestone, submitted by Justin Roberts on behalf of Rick Smith. We have a staff report.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So this application is being brought to the Planning Commission as a result of the size of the property. Any development that occurs on this property would have to go through this large scale review process. It is construction of a storage building in the behind the main facility for Firestone. It is quite a ways from any of the right-of-ways and located behind the property. There are no specific setbacks for this area, and it's pretty straightforward. Would be able to be approved already had it not been the size of the property and the total square footage of structures on the 40-acre site that Firestone has. So staff does recommend approval of the large scale development to allow construction. There is one condition that we are putting on that any improvements above 50% market value to the property would require rezoning the property from C2 to M2. Currently, Firestone has been there for a while, and it's not zoned correctly to allow or permit that type of facility to operate. However, because it has been there so long, staff is not making that a condition. However, if improvements to the site are above 50% of market value for the property, we would have that condition that they need to rezone to be a permitted use on that property. As a result, that the current Russellville zoning regulations list this as not permitted within a C2 zone. The applicant has demonstrated that their compliance with Article 2.10 of the Russellville zoning code and compliance with Section 7 of the Land Subdivision Development Code. And that is my staff report.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay. Is Justin Roberts or you online here?
Yes, sir. Me and David Roberts are both here.
That you won't have any comments or anything?
No, just describe the building as like it's an overhang with no walls. Basically, it's just covering dumpsters to prevent rainwater from getting in them.
It's got 6 columns and a roof.
Yeah. and
Okay.
girders to keep the water flow going south.
Okay. Thank you. Just open the floor for discussions. Anybody got any questions or comments? Okay, if there's no questions or comments, I'll need a motion.
This is Cody. I make a motion for approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the large scale development. Do I have a second?
Second, it's Luke.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Justin, can you give me a roll call?
Sir, Jackamore,
Yes.
Monty,
Yes.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran, yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. All right, motion carries. So we'll move on to E, I'm sorry. Large scale development located at 4100 block of South Arkansas Avenue, submitted by Crow Group on behalf of Mike Miller. Sarah, do we have a staff report on that?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So recently you heard a special use permit regarding Weston Oil, and that has been approved. This requirement by the by the Land Subdivision Development Code was inadvertently missed. That requires any of these type of facilities to go through the large scale development process, along with, I believe the size of the property is just slightly larger than 5 acres, which also made this go through the large scale development. So as a result of those two items, we are here today. However, all of the conditions have already been requested and applied as a result of the special use permit, with the exception that they will need to file an incidental subdivision application delineating each lot and separating off the billboard property. That is so that the applicant will be able to have a freestanding sign there on their property. So it is staff's recommendation to approve the large scale development to allow construction of the Weston Oil bulk fuel station, with that condition as a result that the special use permit has already been approved by the Russellville City Council. The applicant demonstrates compliance with the regulations of Article 2.10 and compliance with Section 7 of the Land Subdivision Development Code. And that is my staff report.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, well, is anyone from the Crow Group on? They want to add to Sarah's report?
David, you are still muted.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, this is David Watkins, and the staff report covered it, and we do intend to apply for an incidental subdivision to cover that split. But other than that, I don't have any comment to it.
Okay, thank you. Any commissioners or anyone on the floor would like to comment or ask questions? Okay, if there's not any questions, I need a motion for the large scale development located at 4100 block of South Arkansas Avenue.
This is John. I'd make the motion to approve it.
Okay, we have a motion from John. I need a second.
All right, it's Larry. I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Large scale development located at 4100 block of South Arkansas Avenue. Justin, give me a roll call, please.
Jackamore,
Yes.
Monfee,
Yes.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran. Yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Vice.
All right, thank you, Justin. All right, motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to F, special use permit to allow operation of a storage building, container sales business at C2, in a C2 located at 2011 East Parkway Drive, submitted by Max Lawton. This has been tabled since September, October, November, and December due to the virtual meetings. Sarah, if you give us a staff report, please.
Yes, sir. So this application, which is different from his next application, this is to allow storage buildings to be sold from this property. The storage buildings in question are the carport metal type structures that are shown over the Two Guys Burgers and Fries. And according to the table of permitted uses, they are permitted to have this type of sale within a commercial corridor only by special use. Special use permits, you need to give special consideration to each application for such reasonable conditions, protective measures to protect the character and integrity of the area. This is a very nicely developing commercial corridor, a main commercial corridor in Russellville. And by permitting the sale of these structures in this corridor, we may reduce the integrity of that commercial corridor there. And you will also note that that precedence has been set by special permit 14.01.118, where a similar metal storage carport building was denied by the Planning Commission and withdrawn by the applicant, which was then never heard by City Council, citing that the building was anchored and not portable and similar to a pole barn on a farm, not on a commercial lot in the city by a major intersection. So that special permit was located at the corner of Knoxville and Parkway. So that is just down the street from where this existing structure is located. And Mr. Lawton has indicated that he is just going to be putting a for sale sign on this one structure to indicate that he is selling these type of structures from his property and not necessarily placing multiple on the property. However, the special use permit granted would give him the authority to place multiple of these structures on that property. And this is a nice commercial area. The building was constructed prior to approval and completed without obtaining the permit from the city. The structure does not comply with Article 3.20, which is commercial building design. And he has agreed to move it out of the front setback and meet the area requirements. And he would need to obtain this special use permit. However, because of the previous denial for similar structure on Parkway Drive under special permit 1401.118, and the building and the use is not compatible with other uses and structures in the area, does not comply with Article 3.20, staff recommends denial of the special use permit as a result of those findings. And that is my staff report.
Thank you, Sarah. Mr. Lawton, are you on?
I am, sir.
All right, you're still here. You got anything you want to add?
I mean, I guess I need to show my presentation again. I agree with her that is a nice street in Russellville. Lowe's Home Improvement, which is less than a mile from me, is doing the exact same thing. I have no intention to put 40 or 50 buildings out there. My intention is to hang a sign on the one that I have. And if somebody would like to purchase one of those, there's a local business here in town that is a friend of mine that I was just going to push business to him. So I'm not intending on building or placing anything other than the one that's there. And I feel like that if I need to, I mean, I know there's other members that weren't there that maybe did not see my presentation earlier. Do I need to go through that again?
Yes, I would say there's quite a few of us that,
Okay.
that are on this meeting that were not. So yes, I would say do that.
Okay. All right. So here we have 1419 East Main. This is directly across from the Old South. This is right next door to it. 1419 East Main as well. This is basically exactly what I'm talking about, except obviously I'm gonna take a little bit better care of the surroundings. This is on 4th Street in South Knoxville. This is in front of the Sears building on South Arkansas. This is in front of Kroger. This is actually located near a snow cone stand in the summer. Their building is touching the sidewalk. So, the same type of structure as what I have. This is on North Arkansas Avenue, going out toward Dover. This is next door to Price Milling. This is Citicorp's new building. Here's my structure and kind of the view of the street view there. Down the street from me, which is on Parkway, we have a boat repair shop. I mean, some people in the city would say that that's an eyesore. I mean, this gentleman's trying to make a living. This is on Parkway. This is the UPS facility. They have two portable buildings directly across from Lowe's. This is very similar to the location that I'm in. It's just down the street. I don't feel like I'm any more a detriment, obviously, than what this is. I mean, I'd be glad to discuss any further. Again, I have no plans to put 30 buildings out there. This all started because a lot of you guys have owned your own business or do own your own business. My employees in the food truck, I call them my kids. They're not my kids. They're young adults that are working for me, trying to work their way through college. It was 140, 150 degrees in the food truck. I spent about $2,500 to try to help them. That was not to my benefit at all. And I spent the money to their benefit and had no idea I would end up with all these issues.
Okay, well, that's a different issue that we'll have on the next agenda, next item on the agenda. This is just for the special use permit to operate the storage building and container sales is what this is. But I appreciate the information and the video and the time you put into it. I'll just open the floor up now for commissioners or anybody that's on the call right now. Has anybody got any questions?
Don, this is John. If his intent is just to put a sign on that building and turn the business to somebody else, does he need a special use permit at all? Or we just need to approve that he can have his structure on the lot?
Well, the way I'm seeing it is if we give him a special use permit to allow operation, then he can put whatever he needs to there. Is what I mean, that's the way I read it. And before I got to I saw his presentation. So, I mean, if he's just, that's what's kind of unclear to me is that's my question is it's not just that one building. If we allow him to do this, he could have 3 or 4 back there. I don't know if he has room for 50. I don't know how much property he owns. Mr. Lawton, you have any, that's the only thing I see.
Again, I'm stating I have no intention of putting multiple buildings or multiple structures on the property. I mean, honestly, I see that type of business all over town. It seems like they're not having the issues I'm having with having this structure on their property. So I guess my intent is if nobody has a problem with them having 10, surely I should be able to have 1.
Mr. Jackmore, you are correct. However, if we grant a special use permit, Mr. Lawson has stated he only intends to have 1, but per the table of permitted uses, to sell them from that property, he would have to have a special use permit, and a special use permit would grant him or future owners the ability to sell those there. And if a future owner had it, there would be the potential that you would have multiple of these units.
Sarah, do we have the ability, if this is a special use permit, to put conditions on it to restrict the number of units to 1?
Because I don't, if he just want to put a for sale sign on that and advertise that type of building, that's to me, that's a lot different than going into a storage building and container sales where you got, like, you have these ones around town, South Arkansas, that has, 5 or 6 different styles. And, that's the way I thought when I read it was going to be. But if it's just to advertise one for sale, then that needs to be stated in this. You could have different owners, like Sarah was saying, in my opinion.
So Trey is responding that yes, we could put a condition on the special use permit to only allow 1 to be displayed.
Mr. Lawton, would that satisfy you?
Absolutely. I mean, it was never my intention to sell multiple units. The man that I bought the building from, I said, I'll put a sign on it. He's also resides here in Russellville. His business is in the Russellville city limits. I said, I will send business to you. That was always my intention, never to have multiple units.
Sarah, I had a similar question as Luke, and question whether or not, I mean, you could, also add that would be non-transferable, should, Mr. Lawton decide to sell the property. I mean, is that something you could also kind of negotiate or put into that condition?
I would think so, based on the comment that we can put 1 condition on the special use permit. We could potentially add the condition that the special use permit is non-transferable.
So then the signs or sign size would be the only other question on that. Is that right?
I'm sorry, the size of the sign?
Right.
Well, that and the size of the portable building too. So
if we're going to do if we're going down this path and it's and we're going to restrict it to 1 and non-transferable, then we probably should specify the size that's on that. It's kind of the way I'm looking at it too. So is that still acceptable to you, Mr. Lawton?
Yes, sir. Again, I have no intention of adding any more buildings other than the one that's currently up. And as far as the sign to sell them, it will probably be about the size of a license plate. It won't be a 4x8 banner.
All right. Has anybody got any more questions? If
I think
not,
I think with these conditions and everything, then this should be like a doable project here for us to approve it with those conditions, that's been mentioned. Because Sarah, the other buildings, the other structures that he showed around the Russellville area, those are structures that were here before certain guidelines and.
Yes, ma'am. So those were built prior to the current zoning code regulations.
Yes.
Would be permitted the way they are currently.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you for your question. If we just have a motion.
Sarah, do you see any other issues, that, might cause some issue later on down the road, just kind of given some of the conditions discussed?
With the conditions discussed, I don't necessarily see any issues down the road. I just see that there's already been previous precedents set on denial just down the street of a similar structure to this by the Planning Commission in 2014.
This is John. Back to my original question is, if he has no intention of doing anything but putting a sign on this building, does he need this permit at all? The next item is just to approve the permit, the shelter being there, which I'm fine with, seeing what's all around town. But does he even need this permit to have a for sale sign on the building if he's going to be giving the business to somebody else anyway?
Yes, sir, because he can't advertise those for sale without a special use permit.
Well, that's a good question, because I was thinking the same thing. I don't understand that, but if that's.
I've posed this question before. Did Lowe's get a special use permit when they started putting them in front of their building?
Mr. Lawton, I do not have that information right here.
Well, I understand the precedent, issue. I also kind of look at this as a case-by-case basis, which is, my feeling is that's exactly what a special permit is. In this instance, I think that I feel like we're properly mitigating that and adding conditions on there that both help protect the city and hopefully are making Mr. Lawton happy with that as well. I would make a motion to approve this request based upon the and Luke, you may have to help me out with what you had noted on there, but that we would have at least that it would not be transferable, and then that we would limit it to one structure, and then whatever size requirements that Sarah and her team would deem applicable.
I have one other comment on that too, and Max, you may comment on this. If the food truck is no longer there, then then I would assume that the building is not going to be there.
Correct. This COVID situation has put a lot of pressure on the food service industry,
Sure.
whether it be contaminating your customers or just one, lack of traffic. We have, and this is a small town. When the time changed, business dropped drastically. We're going to open back up in March when the time changes. If the food truck is for any reason gone, the structure will come down.
Thanks. I think Cody, to that, I think I would add that condition as well into your motion.
Okay. I would go ahead and add that condition as well, that should the food truck be removed, then the building be removed as well.
Okay, we have a motion to allow the one quantity that's there over the building with a sign stating for sale, and that if that food truck leaves, then the metal building goes. And I would assume that the special use permit would go away then. But I'll need a second on that.
This is Luke. I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Justin, give me a roll call, please.
Jackamore,
Yes.
Monfy,
Abstain.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran. Yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Carries, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Justin. All right, motion's carried. We'll move on to the next agenda. Our next item is G, commercial building design waiver located at 2011 East Parkway Drive, submitted by Max Lawton. Sarah, can you give me a staff report, please?
Yes, sir. So this application is is a request to waiver from the commercial building design requirements. All structures in a commercial zone have to meet commercial building design, and when you can see a portion of that structure from the right of way, everything facing the right of way and 8 feet on any sides that I can see from the right of way has to meet commercial building design. The structure is anything that has a solid fixed location on the ground, which this has a fixed location on the ground. And similar structure to this was denied as special permit 1401118. And so I'm not going to go through the whole report. You guys have pretty much heard staff's perspective on this, but staff does recommend denial of the commercial building design waiver as a result that granting the waiver to the commercial building design grants the property and owner advantage not given to other property owners in the same district. Previous denial for the similar structure on Parkway Drive under SP 014-01118. The building and use is not compatible with other uses and structures in the area, and the building does not comply with Article 3.20. And that's my condensed report for you.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, Max, you got anything you want to add to that? We've already heard, but if you want to comment on this.
Again, I looked at it as a temporary structure. I own the property that the building or the structure is located on. If I felt like it was detrimental to my property value, I would not do it in the first place. I have asked if there have been any documented complaints on the structure. None are provided. So I don't feel like I'm taking away from the aesthetics of Parkway Avenue.
Okay. Thank you, Max. I'll open the floor for discussion, commissioners and whoever's attending. Y'all got any questions or comments? Okay, if there's not any questions or comments, I will need a motion, please.
This is Luke. I move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve as a commercial building design waiver. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Who's that?
John Choate.
John, okay, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the commercial building design waiver. Justin, give me a roll call, please.
Was that as presented, Mr. Duffield?
Sorry.
Hello. That was as presented? No conditions?
With the conditions that were previously, that would tie to this, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, we need that.
What are those conditions?
What we've made motion for on the previous, what we voted on?
5F. Got you, Duffield. Jackamore,
Yes.
Monfils,
Yes.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran. Yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Vice Chair.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move to the last item on the agenda, and it's consideration of the recommendation to update the table of permitted uses in Russellville zoning code to the city council for adopting by the ordinance. This was briefly discussed at the last meeting. If anyone had any time to look at that, Sarah, if you want to give us a quick staff report on that.
Yes, sir. So just a reminder, as we have been renewing business licenses and going through the review to make sure that businesses that are licensed are permitted within those zones, we have found some discrepancies where businesses were issued business licenses potentially either on the, oh, this makes sense, we'll just change the table of permitted uses, or the table of permitted uses may not have always been consulted. And so as we're trying to consolidate, rectify that, this is a chance that staff has taken to update that to make sure that businesses that have been previously licensed are permitted. It makes sense. These changes probably should have been made previously. And so this is just to clean that up. It is reorganizing the table of permitted uses into use categories like dwellings, residential dwellings, group living, commercial uses, personal service, government, utilities, waste, retail sales, manufacturing or light industrial, to help people, help staff, help citizens to find that use a lot quicker. Everything was alphabetically, and sometimes the alphabetically you were looking for a specific word and it was hard to find. And so this kind of consolidated that, clean it up, and then we've added a couple definitions as part of this to help clarify as we're going through and reviewing those applications. And so staff does recommend forwarding this update to City Council to update this table of permitted uses and the definitions. as a result of findings that it creates a user-friendly table of permitted uses. It adds specific uses to clarify those permitted uses and updates definitions. And that is my staff report.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, if everybody had a chance to look at that, just open the floor for discussion and comments. I think it just really clarifies a lot of things and takes a lot of questions out. So if there's not any questions, we'll just move. We'll need a motion.
Don, this is Larry. I move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve recommendations to update the table of permitted uses. I have a second.
This is Luke. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the consideration and recommendations to update the table of permitted uses. Justin, give me a roll call, please.
Jackamore,
Yes.
Monfee,
Yes.
Hatley,
Yes.
Cothran, yes. Duffield,
Yes.
Choate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. Well, if there's not any other business to take care of, I appreciate everyone's hard work and involvement, and I want to welcome the new members to the Planning Commission. We look forward to working with y'all. And if there are any questions, then the meeting's adjourned. Yes.
Don, I have one question. This is Larry.
Yes.
What was the maximum height that we agreed upon on that basketball court of that fence?
14 foot, I believe.
Okay. I heard you say something about 6 feet, and I thought, well, that wasn't what he asked for.
No,
okay.
it was, yeah, it was, it's 6 foot high, normal, and he wants to go 14 foot high on that.
That's what I read, and I just misunderstood. All right.
Well, I may have said it wrong.
Thank
I do
you.
that time from time. Thank you. And
Sarah,
yeah,
Don,
yeah,
Sarah,
go
are
ahead.
we still virtual next week or next month? Or are we?
Waiting on the governor.
Most likely we will be virtual next month. We're going to keep an eye on the cases, but I will be checking with Wendell as the chair and letting him make that decision. I do know that since the Board of Adjustment at-large positions, their term ended December 31st, he is going to probably be looking to call a special called meeting of the Planning Commission to nominate and appoint 2 more Board of Adjustment members. So I'm sure that meeting will be in the next week or 2, but I will be reaching out to Wendell and asking him your guys' opinions and thoughts on either meeting in person or remaining virtual. We will have that option as long as the governor extends that, which at this point is only through the end of February.
Okay, thank you. I hadn't heard that. So changes day to day, but I appreciate everybody's time and thank y'all for the vote of confidence on the vice chair. And we look forward to working with y'all.
Okay. Welcome to our new members.
Thank you.
Thank you.